You walk into a room full of people. They're laughing, talking, connecting, and you're there too, physically present, but emotionally, you might as well be on another planet. You try to join the conversation, you smile at the right times, you nod, you participate, but underneath it all, there's this constant feeling that you don't belong here, that you're playing a role everyone else seems to inhabit naturally. You've tried different groups, different circles, different versions of yourself, but no matter where you go, the feeling follows you. You don't fit with the outgoing people. You don't fit with the quiet ones either. You're too much for some and not enough for others. Too intense, but also too reserved. Too deep, but also too guarded. And after years of this, you start to wonder if the problem is you, if you're the one who's fundamentally incompatible with belonging. But here's what you need to understand. You're not broken, you're not defective, and you're definitely not alone. There's real psychology behind why some people don't fit in anywhere, and once you understand it, you'll stop seeing it as a flaw and start seeing it for what it really is. So let's talk about what's actually happening when you genuinely don't fit in anywhere. Because this isn't about social skills or likability. It's about something deeper, something about how you're wired that makes conventional belonging feel impossible. And understanding that might be the most important thing you learn about yourself. First, let's be clear about what not fitting in actually means. It's not the same as being shy or socially anxious. You can be confident, articulate, even charismatic, and still not fit anywhere. Because fitting in isn't about performance, it's about resonance. It's about finding people who operate on your frequency. And if your frequency is different from most people's, if you process the world in a way that's uncommon, you're going to feel out of place almost everywhere you go. It's not that people don't like you, it's that they don't fully understand you. And you don't fully understand them. You're speaking different languages, seeing through different lenses, valuing different things. And that gap creates a distance that no amount of social effort can bridge. Here's what makes it so isolating. Most people find their tribe eventually. They find the group that gets them, the community where they feel seen. But if you're someone who doesn't fit in anywhere, you've probably tried multiple tribes and felt like a tourist in all of them. You go to the intellectual spaces and feel too emotional. You go to the creative spaces and feel too analytical. You go to the spiritual spaces and feel too skeptical. You go to the practical spaces and feel too philosophical. You're always slightly off-center, always adjusting, always translating yourself. And that constant adjustment is exhausting, because you're not just trying to connect, you're trying to belong to a world that wasn't designed with people like you in mind. Now, let's talk about why this happens. People who don't fit in anywhere are often what psychologists call multifaceted. You don't have one dominant trait that defines you. You're not just the intellectual or the creative or the emotional one. You're all of those things simultaneously. And that complexity makes you hard to categorize. People meet you and they can't quite figure you out. You don't fit their mental models. You contradict their assumptions. And humans are deeply uncomfortable with ambiguity. They want to put you in a box. And when they can't, when you keep defying their expectations, they don't know what to do with you. So they move on. They find people who are easier to understand. And you're left feeling like you're too much of everything and not enough of anything. Here's another layer. Not fitting in anywhere often starts in childhood. Maybe you were the kid who is too mature for your age, who asked questions other kids didn't think to ask, who felt things more deeply than was comfortable for the adults around you. And when you're a child like that, you learn quickly that your natural way of being makes people uneasy. So you start adjusting, you start performing, you start becoming whatever you think people want you to be. But here's the problem. You get so good at performing that you lose touch with who you actually are. And by the time you're an adult, you don't fit in anywhere because you don't even know what your real frequency is anymore. You've spent so long shape-shifting that you've become shapeless. But here's what people don't talk about. Sometimes, not fitting in anywhere is a form of protection. If you've been rejected before, if you've been hurt by groups or communities that didn't see your value, your psyche learns to keep you on the outside. It decides that not belonging is safer than risking rejection again, so it makes you feel different. It makes you feel separate. Not because you are, but because being separate means you can't be expelled. You can't lose something you never fully had. And while that protects you from immediate pain, it also keeps you from the connection you're craving, because you're standing on the edge of every circle, never stepping fully in, telling yourself you don't fit when really you're just too scared to try. Let's reframe something here. Not fitting in anywhere doesn't mean you're socially broken. It often means you're cognitively divergent. Your brain works differently. You see patterns others miss. You make connections others don't. You think in ways that don't align with conventional logic. And that divergence is incredibly valuable. It's what allows you to innovate, to create, to see solutions no one else sees. But it's also what makes belonging difficult, because belonging requires some level of sameness, some shared way of seeing the world. And if your way of seeing is fundamentally different, you're going to feel like an outsider everywhere. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're operating on a wavelength most people can't tune into. Here's the painful truth. People who don't fit in anywhere often spend their entire lives searching for home in other people. You're looking for that one person, that one group, that one place where you finally feel like you belong, where you don't have to explain yourself, where your strangeness is just normalcy. And that search is exhausting because you keep hoping the next place will be different, the next group will get you, the next person will see you, but the pattern repeats, and eventually you start to believe that home doesn't exist for you, that you're destined to wander, that belonging is something other people get but not you. But here's the shift. What if home isn't a place you find? What if it's a place you build? What if not fitting in anywhere isn't a problem to solve, but a signal that you're meant to create your own space? Because people who don't fit in anywhere often become the people who build new spaces, who create communities for other people who don't fit, who make room for the complexity, the contradiction, the multifaceted nature of being human. You're not broken because you don't fit. You're just ahead of the spaces that exist. And maybe your work isn't to keep searching for where you belong, maybe it's to start building it. Now let's talk about something important. Not fitting in anywhere can also be a symptom of not fitting in with yourself. If you're disconnected from who you actually are, if you're still performing, still people-pleasing, still trying to be whoever you think you should be, you're never going to feel like you belong anywhere, because you're not bringing your real self to the table. You're bringing a version, and versions don't connect, they perform. So part of the work is getting brutally honest with yourself, stripping away the layers of performance, figuring out who you are when no one's watching, when no one's judging, when there's no role to play. And once you know that person, once you start showing up as them, the people who resonate with you will find you, and the ones who don't won't matter anymore. Here's the compassionate truth. If you don't fit in anywhere, it means you're complex, you're layered, you're not easily definable. And in a world that loves simplicity, that loves categories, that loves knowing exactly who someone is within 5 minutes of meeting them, your complexity feels like a burden. But it's not. It's a gift. It's what makes you interesting, what makes you capable of deep thought, deep feeling, deep connection with the few people who can meet you there. The problem isn't that you don't fit in. The problem is that most spaces aren't designed for people who exist outside of categories. So, if you're someone who doesn't fit in anywhere, here's what I want you to remember. You're not too much, you're not too weird, you're not doing life wrong. You're just living in a world that hasn't caught up to the way you see things. And while that's lonely, while that's hard, it's also an opportunity to stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you, an opportunity to start building your own, an opportunity to find the few people who don't need you to be simpler, smaller, more predictable, who see your complexity and aren't scared of it, who meet you in your depth instead of asking you to stay shallow. The next time you walk into a room and feel that familiar feeling of not belonging, don't spiral into shame. Don't assume something's wrong with you. Just notice it, acknowledge it, and remind yourself that not fitting in isn't failure. It's information. It's your system telling you this isn't your place, and that's okay. Because your place exists. It just might not be a place you find. It might be a place you create. And when you do, when you finally stop trying to fit and start building something that fits you, everything changes. Not because you changed who you are, but because you stopped pretending to be anyone else. Here's my question for you. Have you ever felt like you don't fit in anywhere? And if so, where do you feel closest to belonging? Drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear your experience. And if this video made you feel less alone, consider subscribing. We explore the psychology of being human in ways that honor complexity. Next time, we're talking about why some people can't stop thinking about past conversations. That's one you'll want to catch. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.